Interestingly, Darrell, about 8 cars have been hanging out 1 to 2 seconds behind the lead pack, perhaps anticipating that very thing.
Well, I think we see it. The spotters saw it. They're talking about it. They're going to wreck.
7 drivers involved in that pileup. Jamie McMurray, Brad Keselowski, Casey Kane. As you look at Matt Kenseth, who's led 38 laps tonight. Now, he beat Greg Biffle on the final lap Thursday. What will happen tonight in these closing laps? 129 races since Dale Jr.'s been to victory lane.
It's going to be a drag race. I mean, you're going to have Kenseth and Biffle on the front row. You got Earnhardt and Hamlin behind them. And Harvick's right there. He's good. Burton's good. Those first 6 cars, it's going to be a drag race.
Jeff Burton trying to win the Daytona 500. He's run second here a couple of times. Paul Menard, that big win at the Brickyard last year. Mark Martin, 3 decades of trying to win this race.
You know, just a little bit ago, Clint Boyer was 2 laps down. Now he's back on the lead lap in 22nd spot. So he's made up a couple of laps here in the last little bit.
Just saw Ryan Newman there. He's got the free pass 2 times in this race.
2-time champ Terry Labonte, he's on the lead lap in a 23rd place, hanging around.
And in the closing laps of the Budweiser shootout a week ago Saturday night, Kyle Busch took a wrecked car, drove it to the front, and won. Joey Logano, his teammate, can he give Busch the boost to get to the front? Ricky Stenhouse didn't have a cup ride for this season. Jack Roush had a golden ticket for the number 6, a guaranteed start in the first 5 races. Tapped Stenhouse to drive.
This kid's a really good little shoe, Stenhouse is. And of course, my old buddy David Ruderman. It's good to see him. He's kept that thing out of trouble. He's sitting there in 14th place. And here's my man,
series champion Tony Stewart, 15th.
He's won 17 races at Daytona, but never the Daytona 500.
David Gilliland, 3rd last year, trying to prove that was no fluke.
Well, you know, when I was 17 and I was trying to win my 17th, I said, maybe I'm going to finish 17th. Right now, Smoke's running 15th. So he's 14 on his 14th try.
The only number I'm concerned about, Darrell, is 200. That's the lap number I want to see up on that scoreboard.
Ooh, baby.
9 to go.
Continue making repairs to Carl Edwards' car. He's still on the lead lap. We've got 23 drivers on the lead lap.
So after Gilliland at 16th position, Tony Raines running 17th in a 3rd car for Front Row Motorsports.
You know, we saw Rick Hendrick down there a little bit ago, Mike, and I talked to him about 3 o'clock this afternoon. He was in Charlotte. He said he's worried about the weather. I said, I don't think it's going to rain, boss. I think you ought to come on down. And so here he is down here again. And just one more time, I want to thank him for that helping hand he gave all of us on the Fox team this past week. We really appreciate it, Rick.
Now, all of these are lead lap cars. 1 to go. Jamie McMurray and Brad Keselowski checked and released from the infield care center. 4 drivers with lengthy winless streaks are all running in the top 10. As we look back at the rest of the lead lap cars, Labonte, 2-time champ, Clint Boyer back on the lead lap.
Can anything, any else bizarre thing happen in 8 more laps?
You look at this grandstand, Darrell. That's why they're all here still.
And look, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. They're still all hanging around here wanting to see what's going to happen.
Krista.
As Brad Keselowski walked out of the care center, asked him if he's okay, and that's the only reason that we'll sort of joke about this. What took more damage, your car or your phone?
The car, by far. And it's really disappointing. You know, we had fought really hard all race long to be towards the front so we'd be in front of the wrecks, and had to come in and pit under that last yellow and got towards the back. And when something happens and you're back there, you just you can't get out of it. But you know, that's Daytona. That's how this racing is. It's been a long few weeks in Daytona, and we'll move on to Phoenix. And you know, I think we've got really good cars throughout the season. We had a good one tonight, and I'm proud of everybody at Penske Racing for that. So take the Miller Lite Dodge on to Phoenix. But before we go, I want to just send a shout out to all the fans still watching. I know it's late at night. We've gone through rain delays, fire delays. but you guys are still here, and I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Krista. Fog closing in, 8 laps to go. Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle up front. Biffle hasn't been to victory lane in the last 43 starts. It's been 113 for Jeff Burton, 81 races for Mark Martin, 167 for Martin Truex. Matt Kenseth.
I know you're frustrated about not being able to talk to us, but we've worked through it the whole race. We're going to keep working through it right to the end here. I'm going to give you plenty of information. I know you can't see out that right side. You just do what you do here, buddy. You just do what you do. We're going to do this again. It's smart, it's safe, and let's bring it home here.
That's Kenseth spotter Mike Kalanoff as the green flag waves. 7 laps to go. Junior pushing Kenseth down toward turn 1.
Tell you, that 16 car, though, he is stout. That's a fast car, and he's got a fast car pushing him. We saw Hamlin push to the lead earlier in the race.
4 cars trying to settle among themselves. Kenseth coming to the outside lane to pick up his teammate Biffle, and does. Single file again.
And now they'll go to the bottom. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 88 was fortunate enough to be able to fall back in 4th spot there. I thought he was going to get kicked way out of line.
I did too, but you know what? That is teamwork right there. That's what they didn't have in the 150. Kenseth really helped Biffle out right there by pulling out and getting him and pulling him up there behind him. Now they should be able to settle it probably between themselves.
6 laps to go. On the outside lane, teammates Mark Martin and his new teammate Martin Truex. 2 Toyotas going to try to push their way to the front, but a long way to go to get there.
And Darrell, unless that outside line gets to moving, Matt Kenseth, his best friend right now is that double yellow line.
Oh, I think right now, Larry, everybody say, okay, let's ride right here. Let's hold what we got. Don't anybody panic, because it's going to be a drag race off turn 4. That's where these races have been won every time down here this week. But you can tell Kenseth knows that the yellow line is his friend, man, and he's protecting that bottom. That's all you need to do right now. Make them go by on the outside if they're going to pass you.
5 laps to go.
And here's what's going to happen, Larry. Biffle is he's got to make a decision. Am I going to stay behind my teammate, or am I going to let that 11 push me right past him? That's a question that Biffle's got to sit there and ask himself.
And that's probably the question Matt Kenseth is asking himself about Greg Biffle.
I got to believe that Kenseth is a little skeptical based on the way they raced each other in their qualifying race.
And Denny Hamlin in 3rd in the number 11. Has no friends. 2 Fords, Hamlin's Toyota by itself, and 2 Chevrolets behind, Earnhardt and Burton. More Chevys, Harvick, Menard, Newman, and 14 Tony Stewart.
And there's Tony Stewart's teammate, Ryan Newman. Oh, Tony's going around. Another wreck to the tri-oval.
Kyle Busch, hard slide through the grass, no contact. At least half a dozen cars involved in this one. Dave Blaney drives away. That's Kyle Busch. Caution flag number 10 with 4 laps to go. Landon Castle, or excuse me, David Rudiman.
You know, Tony got around, but I don't know if he got a lot of damage or not. I see a lot of body damage and tires that got the side rubbed off them, but the car didn't look that bad once he got it straightened out.
Let's check with Matt.
EW, he just told Steve Addington, I pretty much said that we're going to need tires, but I got it.
Steve Addington, Stewart's new crew chief for 2012.
Let's see what happened. Tony is right back here, and I see him all of a sudden. He gets a little push from behind, maybe from Joey Logano.
He and Stenhouse go around. Newman and Busch.
And Newman and Busch was actually in front of Tony a little bit when that started happening.
Have to take a couple more looks at that.
Kyle Busch went for a long wild ride. Blaney involved.
Let's see here. Here's 39 up here. Right there. Stenhouse got into the side, and Stenhouse in the 6 got into Tony.
I'm not sure though that David Gilliland didn't get into the back of Stenhouse and push him up into Tony.
Could have to look at it again.
that's about the second or third wreck we've seen on the exit of the tri-oval. It just starts narrowing up right there.
Cars are really free and loose right through the tri-oval. I'm telling you, you're running 200 miles an hour through there. It's hard to hang on sometime.
You saw there where Kyle Busch in the 18 jumped down in front of Ricky Stenhouse in the 6.
I know Stenhouse hit Tony. I'm not sure if he got forced into him. Here's smoke right out here.
All right, there's Stenhouse with Gilliland behind him.
No, you know what? The 20 car and the 6 car make a little contact.
You're right.
And I'm not sure that didn't move the 6 car up, Stenhouse up just enough that he got into the left rear of Tony Stewart.
So let's regroup here. Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse make contact. Stenhouse moves up into Tony Stewart.
Watch him coming inside here. There you go. Up that, stay down. Lock it down, get it rolling here if you can. Keep coming across at you. Get it rolling here if you can. Leaders are in 2.
I believe the 20 nudged the 6, and then you put him into the side of Tony. That's what it looked to me like may have happened.
Michael, how do you see it?
What do you see, bud?
It just looked like to me that Stenhouse came into the tri-oval there and had a really good run. He moved up a little bit, and it created contact with the 20. I don't think Joey Logano had anything to do with it. I think Ricky just had a big run, and he didn't know what to do with it.
And there again, Darrell, we talk about closing speed. Ricky Stenhouse had a big run coming up through the pack, ran out of place to go.
Well, and you hit it on the head, up through the pack. And when you get up in the middle of cars like that, you can't, even if you try to slow down, you can't. So you make casual contact, which creates catastrophic results.
Now here's what sets us up though when we go back to racing. Right now it's going to be, as you see, the first attempt at a green-white checkered, and this is going to break the 2 Roush Fenway drivers up because it's going to be put Kenseth in the 17 on the inside or wherever he chooses, and Biffle to the other side of him in that 16.
Let's have a look at our 5-hour energy move of the race. This long Daytona 500. The Montoya crash with the safety truck under caution, and the tremendous job done by NASCAR and Speedway safety officials to get the fire out, to ensure that no real damage was done to the racing surface and get it back into raceable condition so that we can get this finished.
This is going to be interesting, guys. With Kenseth and Biffle up there on the front row and Hamlin and Earnhardt behind them, we saw in that last restart how Kenseth went up and got his teammate and pulled him down in behind him. Looked like Kenseth's car's pretty quick on the restart. Dale Jr. looked like he lags back a little on the restart. So the restart's going to be the key.